mi gente, que lo que? You already know this is Pun, Drunk, Boxing, a.k.a. Mr. Moonshine himself, a.k.a. El Adobo, El Sazón, El Borracho, El Pastor de Boxeo. Ladies and gentlemen, your boy, Punch ain't always right. Nah, I ain't always right. I'm human. I don't pretend to be a man that's always right. I just want to call it how I see it. But this time, I want to take this time to apologize to the 3-division world champion, 140 undisputed, pound for pound, 2-3, you can flip it around, Mr. Terence Crawford. I ain't sorry, my friend. I'm very, very sorry. I apologize. And people are like, what you talking about, Punch? What you mean you got to apologize for the man, man? He don't need no apologies, man. He's a grown-ass man. He does, you know what I'm saying? What you mean you got to apologize? Well, I got to apologize to the man because for several years, and a real man got to apologize. When a real man admit that he's wrong, I'm a real man. I got to admit I was wrong. For several years, I've shamed Bud Crawford for signing the top rank extension and not signing across the street, not signing with PBC. I said, man, if you want Keith Thurman, if you want to Earl the True Spence, you already know everybody want to see the Earl Spence versus Bud Crawford. If you wanted that fight, you should have never signed the extension. You should have signed the PBC, and you would have gotten that fight. Nah, I was wrong, y'all. I was wrong. I want to apologize to Bud Crawford. Please accept my apology. Now, if you don't want to accept my apology, Mr. Bud, and for the Bud family out there, and friends and family, if you don't want to accept my apology, you don't have to. I'm just want to be man enough and apologize for trying to shame and using my platform and trying to shame Bud Crawford for not signing across the street to PBC. I've done videos in where I had little playgrounds and stuff like that. You don't want to come outside and things of that nature. I said, yo, Bud Crawford, if you wanted these guys, you could. Why you signing with Top Rank with Bob Arum? You should have done with Manny Pacquiao did. He went across the street. He went to PBC. He got some fights, but I was wrong. Looking at what has transpired in the PBC banner, and look, I'm just calling how I see it. I got no enemies. There's some people that do good business, is bad business. From the outside looking in, that's what it looked like. PBC never gave the fight that the fans want to see. Oh, no. So it doesn't mean that Bud Crawford would have signed with PBC. That doesn't mean that he was going to get the fight. That doesn't mean that we was going to get Earl the True Spence versus Bud Crawford. No. Just look at the history. The proof is in the pudding. Did we see Gary Russell Jr. fight Leo Santa Cruz? No. Of course you saw Tank Davis, but that was not his fight. It was supposed to be Gary Russell Jr. versus Leo Santa Cruz. That was well marinated. Even Gary Russell Jr. disrespected Mr. Santa Cruz. You already know that Leo Santa Cruz named his kid after Al Heyman. There's a Mexican kid out there with the name Al Heyman. Ay Hamon, teacher, my name is Ay Hamon. And the kids were, what? How you're a Mexican kid with the name Al Heyman? Y ese es nombre. ¿Por qué tú le pusiste ese nombre? Probably Leo Santa Cruz dad was tight. ¿Por qué tú le hiciste ese nombre? Tú le tenía que poner el nombre mío. Y ese nombre, esos muchachos mexicanos. Se van a reír los muchachos en la escuela. Crazy, man. He loved Al. But anyway, we didn't get to see that fight. They was in the same street. The fans was calling for that fight. We didn't get that fight. Let's move on to another fight. In the 154-pound division, we didn't get to see Jerry Hurd versus Jermell Charlo. Now, you already know that J-Rock threw the monkey wrench, but the fight that we wanted to see in the 154 was Jerry Hurd and Jermell Charlo. That didn't come to fruition. And even though that we see Jermell Charlo doing great things in 154 pounds, he's one win away to become undisputed versus Brian Castaño. We love Jermell Charlo. We love that he is carving his own legacy, but let's not neglect that in 154 pounds, the fight that was marinated, that was supposed to be the number one fight, was supposed to be Jerry Hurd versus Jermell Charlo, and didn't come to fruition. Let's move on to another fight. In the middleweight division, we saw the man from Brooklyn, the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs, get in the face of Jamal Charlo. That ain't fight come through fruition. No. That fight didn't come through fruition. The fight for the PBC banner that people wanted to see was Daniel Jacobs versus Jamal Charlo, and that ain't happening. And we still waiting for Jamal Charlo to fight, a challenging fight in the middleweight division. Waiting on Jamal Charlo to fight somebody is like the Jews still waiting for the Messiah. He already came and it passed. You had a big fight with Daniel Jacobs, and probably you had a big fight with Daniel Jacobs right here. Right now that we already know that he's going to be fighting Sulecki. Sulecki. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. In the welterweight division, one of the prestige divisions of the sport of boxing. For years, people have been talking about Keith One-Time Thurman versus Errol Spence. Before people were talking about Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, they were talking about Keith One-Time Thurman and Errol Spence. But that ain't come through fruition. Same side of the street. Same manager, same advisor to both fighters. And that did not come through fruition. Even Floyd Mayweather was in providing some marketing to this fight, because he was the one that put Errol Spence in front of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, remember, Keith One-Time Thurman was calling out Floyd Mayweather, and then Floyd Mayweather said, if you want to fight me, you got to fight Errol Spence. And boom, the Errol Spence and Keith One-Time Thurman phenomenon started. That ain't come through fruition. Several years later, we have Caleb Plant in the super middleweight division. Before Canelo Alvarez even campaigned in the 168-pound division, we were talking about Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. Both of them was in the gym. They was going at one another. Same side of the street. Same people. Same network. And the fight did not happen. Some bad blood with the Caleb Plants and the Benavidez of the world. That fight did not come through fruition. So then we think about like, yo, what about, you know what I'm saying? If Bud Crawford would have signed, no. If Bud Crawford would have signed across the street to PBC, and I'm not saying that PBC, Al Heyman doesn't do a great job personally to his fighters and his clients. I think he works for the fighters. That doesn't necessarily mean he works for the sport of boxing, and that's when the fans are frustrated. Because Al Heyman does a good job for his fighters' pockets. Maybe not necessarily the legacy. Of course, there's people out there that do got legacy on their resume. Errol Spence is out there going to be fighting Dennis Ugas. Let's not neglect, Sean Porter. Sean Porter fought everybody. Let's not neglect that also. But the fight that the fans want to see in their respective division never comes through fruition. And I think if Bud Crawford would have signed across the street, we still would never see no Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford. Man, you can see the most money that he made was a fight. It was, I believe so, was fighting Sean Porter this past year. And he didn't need to sign the PBC. The Belt Federation needed to do what they had to do and mandate that fight. And this is why I say this. Let me just go out of the content just for a little bit. This is why I say, for the people that's frustrated that we're not seeing the Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence fight, the only way that they are going to get pushed to go to the negotiation table is by the Belt Federation doing their job. And by doing what? The IBF, you mandate an immediate mandatory to Errol Spence through the IBF. Boots Ennis going to be fighting Clayton. I got Boots beating Clayton. An immediate mandatory, which after Errol Spence fight in 90 days or Boots fight in 90 days, you're going to have to make a deal and fight Boots Ennis. Through the WBC, you mandate Virgil Ortiz. Through the WBO, you mandate Virgil Ortiz to fight Bud Crawford. That's how you rush them into the negotiation table. An immediate mandatory. And if they don't want to fight the young lions, then guess what? They got to go to the negotiation table and fight one another, or one of them is going to get stripped. And that's the way you got to do it. The Belt Federation needs to police this ish and start doing their job. Or, what are they here for? I mean, a lot of people don't respect the belts anyway. But anyway, let's go back to the apology. I apologize, Bud Crawford, for trying to shame you. And I believe that a lot of people owe him an apology as well, because we're trying to shame this guy to go into the PBC when their fighters are fighting one time a year. If he would have signed a PBC, he'd probably be like Jamar Charlo right now. He probably would have been in the shelf like Keith Von Tom Thurman was in the shelf for the past year. He was not even injured. Keith Von Tom Thurman said he was not even injured. He was in the shelf. We would have seen him like Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. was out for almost 2 years. This is a champion. We would have seen him. Jamar Charlo hasn't fought in a year, and he's going to be fighting Sulecki. And before that, he fought Juan Montiel. Deontay Wilder haven't fought in a while. Caleb Plant, the last time he fought was Canelo Alvarez, and before that, you let me know how many fights he had. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would have signed with PBC, Bud Crawford would not be top 3 pound for pound man in the sport of boxing, nor would he have a legit legacy in which he can retire right now. Bud Crawford could retire right now, and being a 3-division world champion, undisputed 140, he already got a legacy that could enter, that he has the right of way to go to the Hall of Fame. And I can't say that for a lot of fighters in this generation. I can't say that for a lot of PBC. Yeah, they got money in their pockets, but nah. Look at Adrian Broner, what he was doing in his last fight, crying. Not crying, but actually saying, I need to fight. I need to be out there. What's happening, y'all? So this is what I'm coming. What the conclusion is that I'm sorry. I apologize to Bud Crawford. You did the right decision by signing the extension. To Top Rank. They kept you busy. You kept on providing for your family. And it was, now that I see, it was not smart and it was premature to say that you're stupid for signing the deal with Top Rank and not signing with PBC, because if you would have signed with PBC, you would have got the fight. History have shown us that that's wrong. You was not going to fight Earl Spence. You was not going to enhance your legacy, and you will be fighting one time a year, once every year and a half. So let me know what y'all think, folks, and let me know y'all want to apologize to the man first. Y'all can leave your apologies in the comment box. Don't leave me out there in the island by myself. All right? Love y'all. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Get me updated videos. I love y'all. God bless. And on to the next.